When I think about Dr. Cameron, I think about how he is one of the most genuine and creative doctors that I have ever met. He definitely goes above and beyond for every single patient. If there's something that he needs for one of his patients and there's a barrier, he will do everything he can to get over that barrier to get his patient what they need. His compassion doesn't just end with his patients. It, every single person that he works with gets that from him.
Dr. Cameron is his passion for the patient and their family and taking care of them is sort of infectious. He's a guy that when you're taking care of a patient with him or meeting with a family with him, you know that patient's going to get great care. You know they're going to get very thoughtful responses from him. So it's really a pretty joyful experience. He really, I think, approaches them as if they're someone in his family, one of his own kids, one of his own brothers, sisters, uncles, aunts. I've not seen clinicians like him who really can regard every single patient, every single family member that he sees, whether they're a tough, challenging kid or tough, challenging medical problem, or a family that's frustrated or scared or disappointed. Not seen someone be quite as talented as him to get them to feel like they're heard, to feel like there's someone who's on their team, who's going to do everything they can for that patient and that family. It's pretty remarkable.
I think that he is just so honest and open with patients, and that makes them all the more comfortable with working with him. And then you just notice that the relationship between him and his patients is just all the more productive for both them and him. He shows the most compassion just by spending that time with them, and that it may feel like you have a 45-minute time slot with him, but the time that you get with him feels like it's valuable because it's just genuine time with him. He pulls up a chair, he sits down, he makes eye contact. He remembers what the kids' hobbies are. He remembers what's important to their family, the vacations that they've taken recently, and even just bringing in those little comments of the things that they were talking about at the last visit. He really cares about the patient and their whole dynamic, their whole family, and he understands that 45-minute time slot that he gets with them is really important to their success and their outcome as a patient.
Dr. Cameron is literally one of the most compassionate physicians I've ever worked with. I've had the pleasure of working with him for the last 5 years, and he does a great job of putting his patients and families first. He spends an exorbitant amount of time with them to try to meet their needs and hear the richness of their stories. He acknowledges that life is messy, that medicine isn't perfect, and he really tries to hear, again, their past experiences, whether they're positive or negative, and really kind of drives our care for what we do for our patients and their families.
His care of patients and families was very evident, and it was infectious to want to be his partner and take care of the patients in this area with the same amount of fervor that he provides. He has modeled how close you can get with families to provide the care. We had one of his patients, unfortunately, passed away when he was out of town, and I tried my best to help provide care. And when I talked to him, he stopped and called them from where he was, and it's just it's that kind of stuff that he does all the time that he's really deserving of this award. So.
Genuine, I think, is the biggest thing.
It's simply compassionate.
I'm going to say Harry. Since the pandemic started, he and I were on sort of a let's let our hair grow out kind of thing, and obviously I got my hair cut and he didn't, and I'm pretty jealous. So
I think warmth.
I love working with Ruth because she is never hesitant to answer a question. Even if her day is busier than mine, if I go to her with a question, it never feels like I'm bothering her, and she's always willing to help. The biggest thing I've learned from Ruth is just making sure that you are showing compassion to all people and meeting them where they're at. You know, not everybody is going to be able to do what you want them to do at all points in time, and just being understanding of that and giving them the best care that you can anyway.
I've known Ruth for many, many years, but working with her here, I just think it's her commitment, her ability to see things from different perspectives and still be focused on making sure that we are succeeding as well as that the patients are doing well. To her patients, she really kind of goes above and beyond, makes sure that if she is not able to follow through with something because of scheduling, that she lets one of us know so that we can make sure we're there for a patient if she has a concern. She definitely will call patients. She kind of goes out of her way to make sure that they feel comfortable. She utilizes evidence-based practice both in trauma-based care, and just making sure that understanding that people aren't always comfortable in this environment. And then she just goes out of her way to make sure that happens.
What I love about working with Ruth is that she's always a good resource to go to. She's fun to be around and always has a good sense of humor. She shows compassion with her patients and staff by listening to them. She always works together with somebody to create a good plan. I personally feel like she always hears her patients and meets them where they're at.
She has more than once told me, call me anytime, even if she's on vacation, which it's hard sometimes for people to take that step back, but she goes that extra mile to really make sure that everybody feels supported, no matter what their role here is.
I love working with Ruth because we've known each other for a long time, and it's like working with one of my best friends. I think that I see her putting herself into the position of those people, and so she's always meeting them where they're at.
I love working with Ruth because she is very gentle in her demeanor and how she communicates with other people. She has a great amount of patience and kindness about her that really shows through whether she's interacting with a patient or another APP or a physician. She really, truly treats other people with respect and in a way that's just very easy.
If I had to pick one word to describe Ruth, I'd probably describe her as reliable to both us and her patients. She's just always there and you can always count on her.
Phenomenal.
Fearless.
I would say wholehearted.
Vibrant.
Probably kindness overall. She's so kind.
Dr. Workman best shows compassion by his willingness to always help out. He is just amazing in the sense that he is all about the patient, but he's also about teamwork in the office. He's so approachable. He's ready to do anything for anybody at any time, essentially, patients, providers, whatever.
Dr. Workman goes above and beyond with all of his patients to make sure that they get the best care possible. He's very approachable and he is always willing to help. Dr. Workman shows compassion to patients and staff by making sure that everyone feels respected and everyone is included and making sure that his patients receive the best care possible.
His thoroughness and treating every patient as an individual. He has restored my faith in humanity of medicine, truly.
The thing I love most about working with Dr. Workman is his energy. He always comes in with a smile on his face and he greets everyone by name every morning, and it just gets the day off to a really good start. Dr. Workman has a knack of just getting really close to everyone. I mean, he doesn't know everything about everybody, but he at least knows one or two things, and he has an incredible memory. So he'll ask you about your children and he remembers their names. If you have a hobby, he knows what it is, and that's just something remarkable about him.
Dr. Workman is one of the most compassionate physicians I ever met or worked with. his genuine kindness, care, hard work, humanity, and honesty, his dedication to his patients are an inspiration to all of us. He treats each patient and family with empathy and respect and dignity. He is great at communicating with patients, colleagues, and staff. He always takes the time to listen to everyone's concerns, never making them feel rushed. Dr. Workman goes above and beyond to provide best care to his patients, always available to them, even after hours, on weekends, or even on vacation. He is a great leader and always bringing out the best in nearly everyone he interacts with. He's a great colleague and friend, and I feel blessed to work with such a compassionate provider.
Exceptional.
Outstanding.
Compassionate.
Empathy.
Kind. Hands down, kind.
What I love about working with Dr. Caudill is he's very inclusive. He has a very good sense of humor, and he's always approachable. He's, even though he's our leader in our team, he is very much a member of that team and makes us feel like we're an important part.
He always has a listening ear. One of the things I get concerned about with healthcare is the lack of actually hearing and listening to our patients. And he is a very good listener, and he doesn't only just listen to you, he actually hears what you're saying and really cares for you. Each patient has a different story, and every story can't be written out of the same book, and you have to treat each patient individual, and we listen to them and learn who they are and what they are and how can we make you better.
I've worked with Dr. Caudill for about 4 years, and out of all the providers I've worked with ever, he's basically been the most supportive to a team. He's there for all of us all the time in his quiet, genuine way, I would say. He takes the time to actually get to know them. He knows the little stories that excite them, and he builds a relationship, which I think is an incredible important part of healing, because the patients return for their visits, and you know, just by liking your provider, you do a good job in following through the directions that we give them, and he builds that relationship that everything else is built on.
He listens to everybody. That's one of the things that I've learned the most from him, is he listens to everyone, he listens to his patients, where sometimes patients feel like that, you know, they're run through the office really quickly, and he takes his time.
His patient compassion and concern that he just outpours anytime he is with one of his patients. He treats everybody like they were his mom or dad, or just a kind, caring person.
He's always listening and just asking questions, making sure everybody's having a good day.
One of the things that I love is when he first interacts with patients is that he comes in and sits down in a chair with the patients, and he brings himself to their level. And when they leave, they feel as if they've been heard. And I think that's huge. As far as compassion to the staff, he's always there to lend an ear. It's kind of like the person you take questions to that you're not sure where else to take them. And he not only shows interest in our professional life here, but if we've got a problem outside of here, he's always there to lend an ear for that as well.
Genuine.
Compassionate.
Welcoming.
As funny as it sounds, I always refer to Dr. Caudill as a unicorn, and not necessarily the mythical creature. It's just that doctors like him don't exist. He is unique, he is compassionate, he is listener, he's a teacher, and to find that full package in a doctor anymore is like finding a unicorn.
Kind.
Extraordinary.